Welcome to our channel. We are together with a new story. Before moving on to the story, do not forget to subscribe to our channel, like the video and comment. Now let's move on to the story. Enjoy listening. There was an incident that happened 10 months ago. My wife and I are teachers. We went shopping that weekend. When we returned from shopping, we were putting the things we bought in the closet. My wife entered the room to put on something comfortable and then she started shouting and calling me. I went to the bedroom and said, "Why are you yelling so much? The neighbors will be disturbed. There was a cat in the room." He said, "Where will the cat come from? We live on the third floor. We live on the third floor." I said the cat cannot climb here. When I saw it, the cat was lying on the bed. I did not allow it to enter. However, just to make it easier, I searched the house. There was not a single place I didn't look. "Okay, relax now. Come to your senses. Look, there is no cat in the house. If you want, you can also go there," I said. "Check it out." I looked everywhere. He looked too, but couldn't find it. He said, "It means he left the place he came from again. Look at where he's coming from and where he's going to come from. We live on the floor. Our windows were closed. If you say balcony, the door of the balcony is closed. We're tired. It must have seemed like that to you because of tiredness." I said, "Sleep for an hour or two," my wife said. While I was resting, I continued to put away the things we bought. The last few things were left. I was putting them away. I saw a darkness passing behind me. I quickly turned around. When I couldn't see anything behind me, I got even more scared. I looked around the corridor. I went back to work. I placed the remaining two items. Then I went to the living room. I made myself some coffee. When I finished, my wife came in and said, "How are you? Are you feeling better?" "I'm fine. It's good that I'm resting." "You put the things away, right?" She said. "Yes, I put them all away." I said, "Good luck to you." When my wife entered the kitchen, she called me and said, "Sir." I went to him. "You know, you haven't put anything away. All of these are in the bag. Look at what we bought." He said, "Why didn't you put them in the fridge? They will spoil." I even remember, after placing it, I forgot about it and took it off again. I said, "Otherwise, how will it happen?" Then I left the kitchen. This time, I went to the bedroom and went to bed. Shortly after, I felt a weight on my chest. I barely opened my eyelids. There was a black cat lying on my chest. I felt it up to my breath. I wanted to talk. I wanted to call my wife, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't feel my arms or legs. I could only say, "God, help me." The cat became so heavy that it weighed 100 kilos. The blood doesn't flow to any part of your body and it starts to go numb. My whole body started to go numb. While I was repeating, "Oh God, help me," the cat disappeared from me and went away. It didn't go away. It was resolved and my wife came in and said the table was ready and I was waiting for you. I said, "I have been sleeping for a long time." He said I had been sleeping for 2 hours. However, it had been 5 minus 10 minutes since I went to bed. I got up and changed my clothes. I was sweating. When we went to the table, I was torn between whether to tell my wife or not. She had already said that she had seen a cat today. If I tell you now, I didn't tell him about it that day because he was going to be deeply affected by it. I had to tell him about it when another incident happened 2 days later. I woke up at night with the sound of cats. God knows how many there were, but there were 50 minus 60 of them. They were on doors, closets, beds, everything. I was trying to wake up my wife. She couldn't wake up. I tried to turn on the light and take them out of the room. Some of them looked very aggressive, as if they were foaming from their mouths like rabid cats. When I saw them, I got even more scared. I opened the door of the room. They were about to attack me. When I threw myself out of the building, I woke up in my bed. My wife was lying next to me and there was no cat in our room. I turned on the light. I looked for a cat in the house again. When I realized it was a dream, I took a deep breath. My wife woke up at the same time. When I asked what happened, "Why did you wake up?" I told her about my dream. I said I saw a cat the other day. You must have been impressed by it. I'm sorry. I confused you too. This was not just in my dream. I also saw a cat on the same day. You know, I went to my room to sleep. A cat sat on my chest. He didn't get up until we entered. We both saw the same cat. It's not a dream. It's not a dream. Something else will come out of this. I thought I'd ask a friend of mine about this. My friend was a religious culture teacher. Jinns disguise themselves as cats very often. He said that what we saw could be a demon, but it was something he didn't understand very well. It wasn't true. I had a teacher from the university who understood these issues well. I also have his phone number. If he hasn't changed it yet, I can contact him and ask. I hope he hasn't changed it. I'll let him know. He called me a few days later. He couldn't reach me on his number. He found another way to reach the teacher. We went to his house to meet the teacher. The teacher was with him. There was an older man. He was his teacher. I can say like my husband. He was going to start telling about my wife about the events. The teacher put his finger to his mouth and told him to be quiet. He said, I want to hear from them. We did not see any other being around, but both teachers could see them. They listened to the beings that communicated with them, and then they made a statement to us. We were going to take a bath by burning incense in our bathroom for 7 days in a row. We had to stop for at least 40 minutes. Both my wife and I did this. On the third day of doing this, I noticed that something was happening in the bathroom. I was seeing dark spots reflected on the tiles on the wall. After doing these, we said we were saved, but this was temporary. Then the haunting continued from where it left off. We were only comfortable for a week. We went to the same teacher again. He asked the teacher to go to our house and read our rooms. We all returned home together. Before entering the door, Hadia started to linger in the garden. We waited for him. We didn't want to enter before that. When he came to our door, he stopped. There is something on this door. Open it. Let's see, he said between the door. There was a strange yellow stain on which lard had been applied. Hadia said it was lard. I saw it there for the first time. My wife ran over and brought the cleaning materials to clean the lard. They don't come off with such things. You can't remove it no matter how hard you try. This will only go away when the spell is cleansed, he said. My wife looked at me. Suddenly, someone said, to us, spell. We asked if he had done it, and it shows the situation. Someone came and plowed it. It was plowed from the inside, but even the one who entered the house said, as long as God helps me, I will solve it. Finally, I took all of them. There were Arabic words written on them. I showed them to the teacher. He read the paper saying Subhanallah. He said, no, we cannot have children. We have been married for 9 years. But I said no. Of course, a spell was cast on you so that you could not have a child. They forced your wife to become infertile. Your child cannot be born due to the effect of the spell, and then those jinns, they are haunting you. If we can solve the big one, you can have a child and get rid of it. He said he drew a circle invisibly in every room of the house. If you experience something bad, go inside these circles. No matter which room you are in, don't be afraid. He said he did it to all of them. He made us drink a drink with a strange taste. He started to read and blow on both of us. When the teacher started reading, I started to hear the sound of Adhan. It was not the time for Adhan. It was not coming from outside, but I was constantly hearing the sound of Adhan. It was ending and starting again. I was going to ask the teacher, but I did not want to interrupt his prayer. I looked at my wife and said, maybe I can tell from her eyes, maybe she hears it too. After the prayers were recited, the sound of Adhan stopped. Teacher, you read the prayers. During the whole time, I always heard the call to prayer. Is this normal? I asked. Why did it happen? My demons called those calls. Did you both hear? Did you hear that you have just come into the world because you got rid of the haunting? When a new person comes into the world, the call to prayer is recited in his ear. My demons called you. I gave you a new name for your spiritual world. When those names are whispered in your ear, so other jinns will not be able to find you or reach you anymore. We have changed your identity information. So he said, we neither heard a voice nor saw a cat, but we will never forget what we experienced.
We have come to the end of our story. I would like to thank the person who shared his story. Goodbye when we meet in the next story.